Okay. This is Lee Solden. This is World Languages Live. My lecture today is Teaching Dutch. I'm going to try to go over the rest of the material for this 7 or 8 minute video that Slash Depover posted. I'll be posting that as a comment to this video. So I'm going to wait another moment to make sure this is actually starting. And repeat that. Okay, this is Lee Solden. This is live at World Languages. Today, the topic is teaching Dutch. And today I'm going to go over the rest of the word-by-word translation in the video. And I'll try to have that all posted shortly at the video. Okay. So far, I know of 15 people who were actually learning Dutch from me. As far as somebody who met me here at World Languages, I know I'm kind of new to this site. I don't think no one's identified themselves as coming from this particular group, but that does not mean. I mean, sometimes it says they're in this group, that group, and two others. I don't know what the two others are. So maybe somebody out there on the World Languages site is also learning Dutch from me. I don't know. Okay. But just let you know, this system does work. Okay. It's a natural language acquisition approach. It avoids studying. It has you absorb the language, but not a single word of that language do you bother learning until you can hear Dutch correctly. Well, that seems kind of odd. What do you mean? How can you hear Dutch correctly, but you don't even know a single word of it? Well, you simply don't. I do this. I have this thing called ear tuning exercises, where you are given an English letter equivalent, syllable by syllable, of what you should be hearing from the speaker, from the guy speaking Dutch. And by following those syllables and trying to match each syllable that you're reading silently in your mind only with the syllable being spoken on the audiobook. So every time a syllable of Dutch is said, you're trying to read it at the same time. Well, that's impossible. But if you keep trying to do it, I mean, if your ear's not tuned to Dutch, it's not possible. If you keep trying to do it, keep trying to listen very carefully, keep trying to look at those syllables, trying to read them, trying to catch up with that guy's voice, you'll fall behind, try to catch back up. You do that for about 2 hours, and your ear will be tuned to Dutch. It works. This works every time. This never fails. And hey, you don't believe in it? Don't think I'm just talking for the sake of me talking. No, try it. 2 hours of your time, and you'll see that you can hear Dutch correctly. Now, mind you, you have to start out by listening to a lot of Dutch passively, which should not take any of your time because you're just ignoring that. Okay. And then once you can hear it correctly, and mind you, you keep doing the passive listening and the ear tuning exercises to some extent, so you hear it better and better, trying to approach a native ear. But once you can hear it pretty good, then I start teaching you what the Dutch words mean, and not by studying them, but by you listening to them. And when do you listen to them? You listen to them after you have been introduced to what a sentence means and what the individual words mean in Dutch with a known language. And I'm teaching from English here. I'm going to try to add teaching this from other languages in this series, but I'm starting with English. I have some things translated into 5 other languages: Spanish, Italian, German, Brazilian Portuguese, and Okay, one slipped in my mind. French. Okay. So eventually, I'm going to try to teach this series in 5 different languages. Right now, I'm teaching it in English, and the video for a person that knows English or knows enough English to read what I wrote there. There's enough information to completely learn this 7-minute long video that Slash Depover made by the instructions on that video, by the stuff posted as comments to that video. Pretty much everything you need. At least to get you started, but within a couple of days, everything will be there. I mean, for an English speaker, I have to do some more work on the translations, but a lot of it's there already. The stuff I posted tonight is the last bit of the word-by-word translation. So anyway, I got a few more translation issues to worry about, and it should be a complete system just by going to that YouTube video. Start listening to the guy while you're going about your day, ignoring what he's saying. It's just for your ear to get used to the Dutch. And follow my instructions from there. The ear tuning syllables are posted there. The instructions of how to do ear tuning is there. The instructions of how to do read throughs. The way that you associate the Dutch words with, in this case, English. Later on, again, I'm gonna have this everything needed for 5 languages there. Okay. With that said, I'm going to start in on the word-by-word translation for the rest of the video, and if I get cut off, I will start over. I'll start right back up like 5 or 10 minutes later and continue on. I'm not going to stop today until I have this all covered word-by-word basis. So the next sentence says, I have besides Dutch, okay, that goes like this, and, ik, I, have, buiten means outside of or besides, Deutsch, German, okay, so, en ik heb buiten Deutsch, and I have, besides Dutch, excuse me, besides German, sorry, heb ik nu, have I now, have ik, I nu, now, heb ik nu, ook, also, al, already, begonnen met, began with, began with, Portuguese, Italiaans, Spaans, Portuguese, Italian, and Spanish, onder him to leren. So it means learn from him, learn under him. Okay. To leren, to learn, under him, to leren, to learn. En ik zal, and I shall, en ik zal, and I shall, later, ook, later also, hetzelfde means the same, doen, do, for, France, French. Een tegelijkertijd means at the same time, and at the same time, oefenen we samen, oefenen, practice, we is we, spelled W-E, samen, together, ook, Japanese. He was already learning Japanese before I met him, and I started helping him with the being able to hear it correctly, because my study of Korean, my ear was close to Japanese. I just did some ear tuning further for the Japanese, so I heard it right and could start writing him ear tuning syllables, so he could tune his ear to Japanese, and then I showed him how to take his ear tuning syllables, and once you can hear Japanese correctly, then you put the Then you put the Japanese letters above the ear-tuning syllables. It's an automatic primer to learn the Japanese alphabet. A way quicker way to learn it than studying. Okay, anyway, so I'm helping with that kind of thing, and I'm starting to learn a little bit of Japanese myself, but just slowly because it's like a back burner type thing for both of us, low priority compared to other languages. Okay, so for instance, Slash is learning primarily German from me, but and he's on self-study for a lot of that, although we started heavy on the grammar this week. Okay, but he's mostly self-study, and then we do a lot of Portuguese with a little bit of Italian and Spanish on the side, just so you can see how they compare to the Portuguese. Start getting ear tuned for those, but mostly it's Portuguese as far as I'm teaching them directly. And but this week's a little different because we're doing heavy on the grammar, and but even the grammar I'm doing it in within sentences that he knows. Okay, I'm not trying to get someone to memorize German grammar. He can already read all this German. So I'm just saying, okay, let's look at this verb. Why is that verb this verb and not the other verb? Let's look at verb conjugations within what he knows already. It's perfectly okay. This is when you want to start teaching grammar. The guy's already getting toward fluency. Um, the guy knows a whole lot of German, can hear a German audiobook and understand it already. Okay, now you want to start looking at grammar. Before that, no. You just want to get the person with a high vocabulary and the ability to hear it and absorb it. Then you worry about the grammar. Because then when you tell them about the grammar, it's going to stick now. Because everything you teach them, they hear it in the very audiobooks they hear all day in German, right? So now it's the time to teach someone grammar, and well, we'll tell you how that all goes. Um, okay. Da, 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 da. So we're looking at Japanese a bit here and there. Okay. Afrikaans hebben we. Okay, Afrikaans, that's what they speak in South Africa. It's like I call it a Dutch dialect, but people say it's their own separate language. I don't know. Um, couldn't tell you for sure. I mean, I haven't I'm not an expert in Afrikaans nor Dutch. To me, though, I would say it's a dialect. From I've been him and I have been looking at it like every 10 days, spending an hour or two on it, and you know, doing that for months. I just don't see a whole lot of difference between Afrikaans and Dutch to where I would call it a separate language. Okay. Anyway, we, samen, excuse me, samen, together. Ook, also, al, already, bekeken, bekeken, I mean, looked at. Okay. We've seen a few verbs so far with keka, kaken. Okay. Um, okay. Let me see here. And we've looked at, okay. And then he says, he's explaining exactly what we're doing as we're looking at the Afrikaans. It says, in the zin, in the sense. Zin means sense. I believe it can mean mind also, but anyway, in the sense, in the zin, van dat, of that, van dat, lee it, wow means would or want, it doesn't matter which you use there. Vergelijken, that means compare. Well, you got the word like in the middle of it, like. Well, two things are alike, you're comparing them, right? Ver is just a common prefix. Vergelijken. So we're comparing the Dutch to Netherlands, the Dutch language, met Netherlands. And I help him, thus, met with the the vergelijking. So he's helping me with the comparison